Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spoilers, obviously.
Spoilers, obviously.
I am your host, Joel, and with us is...
It's me, Moses Moon. Hey, guys.
What up?
Yo, man, what's going on, my brother?
Not much, work.
Yeah. Keeping it fly on the flip side, whatever.
Flippity-flop.
Flippity floop. Yep. It's all good.
What's up with you, man?
Yeah, just keeping it chill, spraying my ankle and all that. Good times, but I feel right as rain. It's good weather for ducks, as they like to say, even though it was very sunny and hot today.
I think you just said the most Canadian sentence possible.
Technically, that was more Irish. If I was going to say anything super Canadian, just going to keep my stick on the ice, right? And just keep on, passing the puck, right? There you go.
Well, then.
Oh, it's all right. Like maple syrup, right, bud?
I have a question about that maple syrup. Is it true that Canadians just chug maple syrup?
You can. I've done it. So I guess the answer is yes. It's really good. It's like Canadian maple syrup is the best, number one, and it's really healthy for you. So.
Oh no, I'm not against it. I love Canadian maple syrup. Yes, Canadian, not the fake shit they sell in the Israeli store here. They do also sell Canadian maple syrup, and I love it.
They do. I've been surprised.
It's very natural and it's very flavorful. But I would never, in my right mind, be like, "Hey, let's take a shot of this."
Yeah, actually, you can do a lot of things with maple syrup. You can make like a whiskey, like a maple whiskey shot, or like whatever, where it's like half an ounce maple syrup and like the rest whiskey if you're choosing, preferably Canadian Crown Royal, or I don't know. You could even go with a maple Fireball. Fireball is also Canadian alcohol, but that's really cinnamony and sweet. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things, but the real Canadian thing to do with anything, and I mean anything, is add maple syrup. Similar how to like Israelis will have hummus with everything, Canadians will do maple syrup with anything. You put maple syrup on eggs. You can put maple syrup on like meat. You can put maple syrup on like your pastas or
pizza.
Or besides breakfast, yes, you can even do it on pizza.
I was trying to bring something disgusting, but really?
No, it works. It works. It is real Canadian maple syrup. By all means, works with anything. It is in various quantities, of course, but it is enough to bring out a different side of the flavor palette that is quite remarkable.
That is, I will need to try to add more maple syrup to my stuff, to my food, to
your diet in general,
to test it out for myself.
Don't take my words for it, folks. Try it.
This
is the
I'll have
Canadian
to try
diet.
Yeah, I'll have
to
try
fantastic.
The Canadian
Real
diet.
Canadian maple syrup. You just have to. You can't go like crazy. Like certain things, it's like a dash, a splash, a dribble. Other things, you can go full on like, like work it in. Like my favorite thing to do is mac and cheese with maple syrup. So what you do is you make mac and cheese, but then like you add other spices to it, from like paprika, cinnamon, cloves, and black pepper. Work that into the pasta, and then of course a billion types of cheeses, and then you put that into a bowl, and then after it's all present, like lovely with its presentation, you just do a wee little S dribble, zigzag on it. Not like, again, a lot, but enough for there to be present in the meal. And so you get like these very savory tones with these like high arcing medium tones of sweetness and savoriness of the maple syrup. That's just like, it's amazing.
That sounds very interesting, and at the same time, too much for me. Again, I'm not from Canada,
you'd be surprised.
So for me this is like foreign stuff.
Listen, my expensive brother, I tell you the truth. The maple is amazing on everything. You love it. Forget the hummus. Enough. Add the maple.
I'll add the maple, and
On your
I'll
salads, on your breakfast, on your tzoraim tovim, yes, all that.
I'll I'll definitely have to try that. It is expensive here in Israel, but um, I'll
Hmm.
I'll have to try it with it sometime. Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah,
should
yeah, man.
we get into our
Should we?
episode?
You want to?
I think we should.
Let's do
So
it.
okay, so today we are going to talk about a new topic. Um,
Mm.
we are going to talk about Rick and Morty season 6.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Rick and Morty. Oh.
Now, Rick and Morty is on a Adult Swim, but
Hmm.
because we live in Israel and we don't have Adult Swim, Rick and Morty does come to Netflix every Monday, like an hour after it debuts on Adult Swim. So
Indeed.
yeah, and by the time we are recording this episode, the first half of season 6 was released. So
Yes, it was.
this podcast episode is going to be Rick and Morty season 6. No,
Part one.
it's going to be Rick and Morty part 1. Wait. It's going to be Rick
Yep.
and Morty season 6 part 1,
Mm.
episode 1 till 6 if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Very good.
yeah, we're going to talk about the first 6 episodes of season 6, and in about 6 weeks
Yes.
from now, that is when Rick and Morty will come back, and we are going to talk about Rick and Morty season 6, and hopefully we'll do each episode at a time rather than all of it in one big episode. So because
Unless we get some feedback saying you particularly like this episode
yeah, which
in this format, which I don't know.
yeah, we'll see. But because we are going to do this new format, have all 6 episodes, I do guarantee we are going to forget a lot of things, and we are going to fuck up the timeline and miss some stuff here and there. So we will
Some
try.
notable moments, most
Yeah,
likely,
we
but we'll get the highlights.
yeah, we will try our best
We'll
to
call
get
this the highlight reel.
the the highlight reel of what we remember.
Or you can call it the Highland Reel, and we'll just wear kilts and talk about Rick and Marty. Ah,
You know what's funny? I am actually part Irish. Yeah, the ish part.
well, that was
But
Scottish, but if you don't mind, we can talk about Rick and Morty. That's fine. No, I just went Swedish there. Yo, man, I saw. Sorry about that. All right, Irish, right? All right, so you're part Irish, are you? That's
Irish,
grand. I love it.
Scottish. I'm the I have
Quintessential white guy.
yeah, exactly. My DNA is all mixed, but
Pretty rad, though. I mean, the history is, part of the Celties. You get to wear like blue face paint and stuff, and maybe
oh
some
yeah,
tats.
and Viking stuff, and yeah,
He'd be very fearsome,
yeah,
shirtless and blued up.
with my long hair and my goatee beard. Yeah, have
I
it
could
all
see it.
frizzled all down and tattoos all over my face. Yeah, it should totally do that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's more Scandinavia, but like, fair enough. Like, yeah,
I'll
all for it.
I'll do it. not
Fuck yeah, I'm all
not
about that.
not the tattoo stuff, but yeah. Anyways,
Oh, that's unfortunate. Say goodbye to being buried in a Jewish cemetery.
yeah, I guess. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's get into the thy
Let
episode.
us begin. Yeah. Episode 1.
So yeah, episode 1.
Solarix.
Yeah, so before episode 1, we actually finished season 5 with Rick and Morty destroying the Citadel. And
The Citadel,
and they are
indeed.
now stranded in like a little spaceship of the Citadel. And
No, they're in
also,
the Citadel itself.
yeah, but like a small part of the Citadel. It's
Yeah, a
not,
portion of it, just the overview, the overlooks. But yeah.
yeah. And also, evil Morty has escaped from the Rick timeline or Rick reality. So
Mhm.
a little background to anyone who doesn't remember. So Evil Morty, his big plan was to escape Rick, because Rick, for some reason and somehow we don't know why or how, he doesn't explain, he was able to basically control his timeline of whatever happens in this like timeline and other parallel universes. It's only universes where Rick succeeds, he's like the dominated one. And
Mm-hmm.
Evil Morty had enough. He wanted to escape to go to a reality where Rick is not the dominated one, and everything is actually free. Nothing is controlled by Rick. So he was
Yeah.
able to open a rift and escape.
And that rift remained open
And the
like an
rift,
unstitched wound in time and space.
yes, and that is how we ended episode season 5 of Rick and Morty. And now we are now season 6, episode 1. We see how it's been several days, weeks, we don't know how long, but Rick and Morty are doing very, very badly. Some Mortys are killing and eating each other, which is typical.
Yep.
Yeah, but then
Pure. Just another day. Morty's killing Morty's. Just another day. Morty's killing Morty's. Except not in this season. That's just a reference to 5. But still, good stuff.
and they pull off a endgame joke over here. How they have the clone, Beth clone, who is in space.
Space. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Space
that
Mom.
yeah, Space Mom, and that reference is to Endgame when Tony was stuck in space and you had Captain America save him. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of that kind of
I
joke.
totally forget though what happened to their normal vehicle because they return with Space Beth. And I mean, it's implied that their vehicle was destroyed. I don't recall seeing it, but I obviously it was.
Okay,
But
so
still,
yeah, so in this episode, he does get a new vehicle from his original timeline. So eventually, what Rick does, he wants to fix what happened by bringing everyone to their own reality, but no, setting the reality like straight, but accidentally, he put everyone in their own
he puts
reality
himself, Morty, and Jerry back
back.
to their original stuff. The
Yeah.
quick little cute little thing of like, oh, how did Jerry get off his timeline? The Jerry daycare.
That
The
was
best
amazing.
twist.
That was
Did
amazing.
not see that coming. And the continuity of it's so interesting because the writers play this tug of war with the meta and the people who are hyper paying attention. On one side, they're saying like, fuck off, like it's just a show, it's not like, super brainy because there's that stereotype of like Rick and Morty fans are obnoxious, like, oh, we're so smart and like pompous because we watch an adult television cartoon, but it's because they talk about quantum physics and all these things are as not obnoxious as Rick. But on the other side, they are really attentive to detail. They're really pull things like out of the hat like that, where you're just like, genius. Like
Yeah.
absolutely like a great narrative point to be like, yeah, that happened. So there you go.
I whenever I tell people about Rick and Morty who have never seen it, I tell them there's 2 ways to watch Rick and Morty. The first way is just watch it and enjoy it. Just don't overthink. Just watch it.
Well,
The
if you
sec,
like it, that's the whole
yeah.
point. Sometimes just watching it, you're just like, eh.
No,
But still, yes, please continue.
I think Rick and Morty is, even if you don't like it, you can really enjoy it. But then I tell
Okay.
them the second way to watch Rick and Morty is actually pay attention to what they're saying and
Yep.
what's going on, because over there comes all the philosophical stuff and the mathematical stuff and the science stuff. It's like, holy shit, Rick is a psychopath.
And they put a lot of thought into it. Like, there's a lot of interesting things. Like, it is an intelligent show. The way they've written the characters, like, they're not just like, it's not like Family Guy or The Simpsons or like American Dad, where like there's stereotypes and they're like played heavily into it, and maybe there's some emotional intelligence behind it where there's semi arcs. Like, I don't know how they figured it out, but they they planned it like I don't know how they like if they're like, oh, these are the story arcs and the growth of certain characters, but they acknowledge we're like, oh, like this person really has an issue. Like this episode, um, not Beth, Summer is like the big bad, and these are all the repressed feelings that she's been feeling all throughout the series, and they're coming out, which is in Night People, which is a few episodes later or back, depending on which way you want to look at it, timey wimey.
Mhm.
um and or like that scene, that one in the season 5 when they're like they get their negative emotions removed from both Rick and Morty, and there's been separated and they're two different entities, and it's like, oh, there's some interesting issues there. And again, the intelligence of like, oh, being removed from your negative or your shadow, if you want to go Jungian, also has negative consequences, you know, and stuff like that. Seeing how Morty is like, doesn't want to possess that, and so creates this whole thing. But anyways, I don't want to get too deep into it because it is just relentless, filled with theories and fan lore, and the writers are I'm sure having a blast with this.
Oh yeah, they most definitely having a blast with this. No, like no doubt. Yeah, this show, you have a lot of theories, and I love that they give it to you. They give us like these theories because, for example, about Jerry, there was a theory about Jerry that we don't have the same Jerry. That the Jerry
Yeah.
that our original Jerry is got lost because of the daycare. And over here, like
Yep.
what, 4 seasons later, we see, oh my God, we had this
Very
theory
confirmed.
way back then, and it's been confirmed. So those are like the little joke theories, but then you have the bigger theories about evil Morty, and now you
And
have
now Evil Rick,
evil Rick that we meet in this
which is a
episode.
nice touch. Was it the third season where they bring up the Szechuan sauce? I
I
think it's the
think
third season
yeah, I
where
think
they,
so.
because Rick has turned himself into the Galactic Federation, or whatever, and they're trying to like find the secret whatever for temporal travel,
Hmm.
and you know, Rick gets out and escapes, and but the hint is that there's an origin story there behind, and he says he made it up, but people were like, oh, it's true. And then when he's teleported back to the original one, we recognize the setting, and we see that it's a very dark world, a very dark world, where he's fucked things up there pretty harsh, but the real manifestation of like what's going on behind and his inner motivations is like, no, there is a Rick who killed his daughter, and something to do with his wife, so much so that our Rick builds a virtual replica of it, but he can only interact with it by voice. He can never get to it, which is also metaphorical and heartbreaking. And
And she's
he takes his
always,
original vehicle.
yeah, and she's always a room away, which was also
Yeah.
hilarious because he can never get to her. But
Yep.
it's genius because we see over here, for example, Rick hated his life so much that he decided to torture himself, and
Yeah.
he never really got over his loss of his wife and his daughter. But then we find out his bigger plan, which was to find and kill evil Rick, and he failed. No matter what he did, he couldn't do it. So he came up with a new plan. I will steal evil's Rick grandchild, Morty. So the Morty that has been with Rick up till now is not Rick's Morty. And it's like, oh my
No.
God. Like, you really, like, we see how much, like, you do care about your family, but at the same time, you don't care about your family because you just want to kill evil Rick. Once you do that,
Mhm.
you know, the Morty you have with you is basically bait. That's it.
Yep.
And
We come back to Morty's original world where we find out that his father's still alive. Go
oh my
figure.
God,
That
yes.
was his arc.
Yeah.
That was funny, and also at the same time really tragic, because like Jerry's had a tremendous like character arc over the last whatever, and to see a going back to a Jerry who's had another arc but who's come to full realization is like, fuck yeah. Like, I don't know, for me, like, it's just weird, like, subconsciously have inverted ourselves to be like, yeah, fuck, like Jerry can be annoying, but like there's something like heroic about him, and so to
Mhm.
see him like primal and like winning at the situation until the very end of that episode, where you're just like, ah, fuck, I wanted to see more of it. There's space, Beth, then why can't there be primal what was it, Cronenberg world Jerry? But nope.
Yeah, I very
Subversion of expectations.
yeah, I very much enjoyed that, Jerry. But I was also like, oh my god, like at first when we saw this whole primal world of Morty, it's like, oh yeah, that was when Morty had like there
Love
was the
potion number
flu.
9.
Yeah, love potion, and there was the flu going on. Yeah, it's all this is from way back then. It's like, oh my god, it's like it's amazing how they connecting past episodes. And what's funny, they also tell us, oh, like this is Jerry from season 2. Hi, Jerry from season 2. It's like, what the fuck? It's hilarious, and I love how they do everything. But yeah, Rick did take his original spaceship call, whatever. I
Yep.
also don't remember his original, like the one we saw up till now, get ruined or broke or something. Later on in the episode, the amazing car that Rick has does get destroyed, and all of a sudden Rick has his old one. So
Correct.
it was funny, but same time, like, come on, finally get an upgrade, and then you go back to being downgraded. So
Oh, was it technically downgrade, or was it,
we didn't see the full potential of the upgrade one. Like,
well, was it an upgrade, or was it a downgrade to his original model? I mean, we've seen how sentient and crazy the old vehicle, our old vehicle was with
keep
protect
summer safe.
summer safe. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so the old co is amazing. It's sentient, but at the same time, we didn't see the full potential of the new one. So I'm assuming the new one broke somehow, and he tried to do a replica of it as close as possible, but obviously did not succeed. Which means the newer one could have been way more insane. But
well, in the first episode, he doesn't lose his vehicle quite yet. They return to a universe where all the family is dead, and they all replace, and then we move forward from there.
Oh, we don't move forward. They all the family is dead, and they go into a new world where you say, what was it? The cheese. They say the cheese in a weird way. It doesn't matter, but they do tell us
Parmesan,
yes. But they too
not Parmesan, Parmesan.
And I love how everyone, this is disgusting. But then later they did a little fuck up, and Jerry does tell us, oh great, now I need to do Rick tells us now we need to do the entire episode all over again to find a new planet, and that's the planet where they go to, Parmesan, and they meet. Before they had to do all of that, they saw Jerry from season 2, and what was it? I'm Mr.
The triangle dude.
Yeah, the triangle dude
who bites everybody and creates
Oh my god, I laughed my ass off.
That was ridiculous.
And then you see the entire planet turns into a Mr. God, what the fuck is his name? Yeah.
Hold on, I'll go back. I'll find it in just a quick second. 3, 2, 1. Grundles.
Mr. Grundles. Yes. No,
you're welcome.
I laughed my ass off. Yeah, thank you. But that's episode 1. We have
episode 1, Solar Ricks.
Evil Rick is on the run, and now episode 2.
Well, Evil Rick is not on the run. He's on the hunt.
He's on the hunt, yeah. to be more
But we
accurate.
haven't, from this point onwards, we never get any other more references to him, and everything becomes more episodic.
hmm We might I we might see him in the
I'm
future
pretty sure
episodes.
if it similar to Evil Morty, we're definitely gonna get the
Yeah.
bigger lore, because those are new now, two parallel bigger stories that will intertwine with the story, and we'll see how they bring them together. My theory is that they'll bring Evil Rick and Evil Morty together, and they'll either join forces or fight each other in the big climax.
Well, it is
Maybe not this
interesting.
season, but in later.
Yeah, it is interesting to do that, but at the same time, Evil Modi is no longer in our universe because
True.
he went to a different universe where Rick doesn't control that universe. And in the last episode with the dinosaur closed the rift. So
True. But that doesn't stop anything from interdimensional portal travel with both
it,
Evil Rick and Normal Rick. And
it does because Rick doesn't control that universe.
true, but that doesn't mean that he could not get into it.
He
I mean,
will
maybe I didn't understand something about that, but I'm pretty sure that
the
I don't know.
way
It didn't
the
seem like
way
a closed end.
well, for me, it kind of did because of the way Evil Modi opened that portal was not with a regular
Mm,
portal gun. It was with a
right.
lot of portal guns and a lot of Rick and Morty sacrifice to
Yeah.
build that kind of energy and to open that kind of portal.
Yeah.
So unless if our Rick is going to do that, I don't see Evil Modi coming back at all.
You think his storyline is concluded?
I hope not, but yeah, could be like because at the same time, okay, let's say here we're done with Evil Modi. Now we have Evil Rick. So
True.
someone to switch. So that could be what's going on. But what is interesting to me, we have Evil Modi and Evil Rick, but Evil Modi is not the grandson of Evil Rick, which is very interesting because both of them are evil, and they're not like relate. They are related to one another, but they're not. They don't belong to one another. Yeah, but anyways, let's go to episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah, what's the name of it?
Rick, a mort well lived.
A more well lived. I'm gonna be.
AKA, this is the Die Hard episode where
Okay.
there's plot A and plot B. Plot A, we're immediately introduced where a Rick is represented through a different body, and he's telling everyone around him that they're all Morty that has been split up into different fragments throughout the game of is it not the life of Brian, but
No, it's
that's a Monty Python
Roy.
movie.
Roy.
Roy? Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
just that's the
so,
name of it, Roy.
right. And so everybody in the game thinks are pieces of sentience. And so they're like, um, they're all, thinking this is a religion, that Rick's character NPC is like, starting something. And some of them get it. Some of them do believe it. Like the president already knows this faction or this secret within the game. And, Rick is trying to get everybody to jump in a spaceship and fly beyond the borders of the game so that everything can be returned to Morty, which is interesting. There's a little subtle sweetness at the end there, but I won't get into that right away. My favorite part of that, though, is like the inner conflict within the Mortys in their like belief perception, as if it was like believing you're Morty is like almost, I would say the parallel is like, let's say, coming out of the closet. So is, because you're dressing in a particular way, cutting your hair and whatever. And there's like this traditional, might I say, Jewish family, but they're not Jewish, but they're just oh my gosh, it was so funny to hear them like create things that sound so parallel to the Jewishness in real life, and it's just like, what is you're not gonna do this anymore? You're just saying things. It's good.
It was a fun, but we are a Jewish family. Dad, you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's something that but you do with the no. What? What were those words?
Genius. So
Eh,
I explained plot A. Why don't you do plot B?
So plot B.
What's really going on?
So what's really going on? So as we've seen in past seasons, where Rick and Morty did go to Blitz and Chips, where
Hell yeah!
it's a arcade, a space arcade, obviously, where you have amazing games. One of the games that became very fan favorite is Roy, where you basically
Roy.
live a life of someone from birth until death. And last time Morty played this game, he became a carpet seller and he survived cancer twice, and then he died.
Mhm.
And then he died by falling from off a ladder. And then Rick played the game and he went off the grid. And everyone, oh my God, this guy's going off the grid. So that was the last time we saw the game Roy and Blitz and Chips.
Yeah.
So over here, like you said, Morty is stuck in Blitz and Chips. Rick is trying to save him. But why all of this is happening is because some bad people are trying to steal some money and they're holding everyone up for ransom, or at least the manager. And there was like a electricity malfunction, and that's why most of the games are not working. Some of them are malfunctioning, and that's why plot A is happening. In the meantime, Summer is over there, and Rick is telling her, do a Die Hard. It's like, I'm 18. I've never seen Die Hard. I don't know what a Die Hard is.
It made me so sad when I heard that line. I giggled, but I was like, ouch.
Hey, listen. I'm 27 and I've never seen Die Hard, any of them.
That hurts. I feel like you and I need to do a Die Hard marathon along with John Wick and watching Taken 1. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah. I have a lot of movies that I need to watch that I haven't watched, and a lot of them that I actually refuse to watch for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
It's okay. I have my movies like that, aka Twilight. I will never watch those films. There is a chance
Twilight is
I've.
the best movie ever.
All right, I'm ending the podcast. Goodbye. Thank you so much. It's
No,
been a
it's
real pleasure.
Twilight is
I need to
trash.
find
Bitch, it needs cash. Gandhi. It's a quote from Gandhi.
Gandhi. Yes, that sounds super realistic. Gandhi definitely said that.
Anyway, so back to thy episode. So yeah,
I don't know. You made the Twilight comment, so bye. I'm back. All right.
Hello.
So, all right, cool. Hello. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me walk towards you. Okay, let's go.
So yeah, someone never seen Die Hard, just like myself. Before I actually go back into the episode, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I know it's a big conflict.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I'll give you the definitive argument. It's not just that it has Christmas themes in it and that there's Christmas music in it, which would in other movies make it a Christmas film. It is integral to the plot. If it was not Christmas, this movie could not happen because of all the types of parties that would exist and whatever. The film is centered around it. You may not like give it critical thought and be like, oh, but if it wouldn't, no other businesses would be closed and et cetera, et cetera. So the hubris that they were having a party on this particular night allowed for the heist crew to hold everyone hostage and create the Die Hard situation. So yes, it is a 100% a definitely affirmative a Christmas movie and one of the best there is.
Okay, what about Home Alone 1?
I mean, it takes place during Christmas and Santa is integral to the plot to an extent near the end. If it was not Christmas, certain things like he wouldn't have been able to hide in the manger scene, and so also similar, there are certain plots that he wouldn't have been able to do in any other holiday. So yeah, it was also integral. So yes, Home Alone 1 is a Christmas film and gives those good cheery feelings.
Okay then.
Yeah,
I was thinking of A Nightmare Before Christmas.
It is both a Christmas and a Halloween film, though my personal feelings is that it leans more, well, it's difficult, again, integral, because it is what is Christmas and whatever, but it's not technically about that. There's more of a nuanced essence of art and discovery, but the themes are important, so I'd watch it both on Halloween and Christmas. However, I feel it's more appropriate on Christmas, but that's my personal opinion. I'm a little split still on that.
Okay.
Do we have
So
any other films that we've
not on
tanged
top
on
of
really hard?
not on top of my head right now.
Maple syrup, Rick and Morty, Christmas, the great episode.
Yes. So Summer's doing her Die Hard thing, and obviously
She's doing her Die Hard thing. She's just doing a Die Hard.
yeah, and
It's just a verb.
the main bad guy over here, apparently he's a fanatic of Die Hard, such as he went to every other universe or planet. I didn't really understand, but he
Something
knows
along the lines of
every
that, yeah.
different outcome of Die Hard. Like, what if I don't know, he didn't go through the vents. This would have happened. So he knows every scenario how Die Hard would have ended in a possible way. And the thing is, he wrote it down in a book. And
Yep.
since Summer did not watch Die Hard, so she is going off the rails according to him. And then he finds out, oh wait, she's never seen Die Hard, so just fucking kill her. Don't go according to the books. But the funny thing is, over here, at some point, they don't show this to us, both the main bad guy and Summer were in the bathroom at the same time, and she read his book and basically read the ending. And with that, she knows what is Die Hard. And then
she had to do a double bluff on the end.
Exactly, she's doing a double bluff, and that's how basically she wins and kills everyone, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It's genius. Yeah,
it was a really good episode. I liked how, like, in the end, both plots kind of climax, and Summer is surrounded and she pulls the final scene from Die Hard, and then at the same time with the expectation that Morty and Gramps would get up, which they find Grandpa Rick achieves his goal, and they Morty and Rick get up and assist Summer to finish the whole episode, basically. However, it was not without some cost on behalf of some fragments of Morty, and an agreement between that and Rick, which I thought was a nice little touch, because it had a bit of a Indiana Jones vibe at the end with the not the Last Crusade. Yes, the Last Crusade, where they're bringing the Roy unit back, but it still has electricity going on for the fragments of Morty who wanted to stay to live out their lives peacefully to the end. So that was interesting, a very subtle touch on Rick's how would you say, sympathy or empathy, dare I say, towards some aspect of Morty.
It is, but now that I think about it, like, they wanted to stay to live out their entire life until they die. They do tell us throughout the episode, like, I've lived an entire life. Like, yeah, you lived an entire life. Rick lived 5 minutes. So the fact that she wants to stay her entire life, do you really need to put the game into storage? Just wait another minute or two and then she dies. That's it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, one could say there was enough Morty-age people, like 3 people left to kind of
repopulate.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they would go about it. I don't. It seems messy enough, and I don't want to get into it. But whatever.
Okay. Well, I do believe we finished episode 2. So
episode 2, on to the most uncomfortable episode for me, episode 3. Bethic Twinstinct. Yeah, Bethic Twinstinct.
So episode 3 is with the clone thing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Space Mom comes back, almost like a shared custody kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now Morty is having a drawn withdrawal aspect from being uncomfortable with his family around Thanksgiving time, so he's just playing video games to
Space
kind of
video
cope.
games.
Well, Beth and clone
Beth.
Space Mom start to pursue a potential romance. It becomes a romance, and everybody gets, other than Jerry, everybody becomes totally like,
well, it's
Summer
not
gets scarred.
Summer gets uncomfortable and scored. Morty gets uncomfortable and scored. Rick says, like, I've been into multiple universes. So
He's
like
done
I
everything, but he knows the consequences.
exactly. So he's not judging. Like, so
Yeah.
the thing is between Rick and Beth, Beth is essentially having sex with herself because it's her clone. Rick
Yeah.
is having with a different Rick who is not his clone. So
hmm
it's not the same Rick. So it's kind of
Is it? But I
it's the
mean, like, it's
same.
still
It's the
yourself.
same, but it's different.
It's a weird, uncomfortable, like, would you do yourself? And also, like, similar with the Loki, like him falling in love with his female variant. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's very narcissistic, but at the same time, like, also like, what the hell is going on? Would you do that? Is that even possible? What what's the morality on that? Like, because it's yourself. Is it really yourself? Is it not? Like all these like
So here's an interesting and here's an interesting conversation. Let's
Mm,
say someone comes up to you and says, "We have the technology to clone, and
mm,
we want to clone you, and obviously, you are at the age you are now. So
mhm.
we will clone you, but the thing is, your clone will be a baby. So in biology, not physically, and
Biologically?
biologically, yeah, god damn it. So
Okay.
biologically, he'll be the exact same as you right now. So if you have any
Mhm.
diseases, the baby will be born with those diseases.
Good times.
Okay. Now, if you don't have diseases, hopefully you don't, obviously the baby will be born healthy.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now, he might be biologically you, but he will
Mm,
experience different things. Obviously,
correct.
you won't have the same childhood because you are way past your
Mhm.
childhood. He's only starting his childhood. So
Yeah.
he could eventually become like a different set of mind as you have. He could come and
Yeah.
say,
Could
"Yeah, I
be.
hate Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is horrible. Rings of
I
Power is
would
amazing."
murder him on the spot. You're no clone of mine. I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
So
Uh,
the thing,
that's the real question when it comes to like nature versus nurture and the effects of that type of psychological inquiry.
Mhm,
It's that one's very, very interesting. I'm surprisingly more on the side of nature because there's a lot of stuff that just will blow your mind if you read into it. Like there's a lot of things where you're like, oh, like he didn't learn this stuff from us. This is his own personality, and this is something that like my grandfather did. Like
mhm.
stuff like that. That type of stuff is super common and more common and prevalent than we think. So there's like a lot of stuff in our DNA that is like either, let's say, unresolved or traumatic stuff from our past, and or both high success and da 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 that is still played out through us, which is like, oh, what? But I'm not here to convince you on either side of the argument. I do agree certain things would be definitely different. But the point being, because you got to saying that he hates Lord of the Rings and I'd murder him. So, but what was your point?
So over here in this show, the reason Beth cloned herself is because she was done with parenting. She doesn't want to be a parent anymore. But at
Correct.
the same time, a part of her, as we know, does want to be a parent. You know,
Yep.
obviously, if I had a clone of myself, I would have like, yeah, you go do the job, you go work, get the money. I will fucking stay home and be with my family. That would be
Mm-hmm.
like, in my point of view, what I would do with my clone. One of the many things. So
Mm.
over here, she decided, yeah, one will go be herself, and the other one will go be a parent. Then
But they're
obviously,
both herself.
yeah, at the same time, they're both herself. So because in this episode they get to a point they have sex with one another, is
Yep.
it really having sex with one another? Is it having sex with yourself essentially, or is she just masturbating?
I mean, how would you feel jerking yourself off in
honestly
another body?
Honestly, if it is me, I might do it. Maybe even have a
I
threesome. Who
applaud
knows?
your honesty. I mean, who knows? I mean, on one sense of the definition, because you would say touching oneself, technically it's true. On the other hand, it's a foreign body that you're interacting with,
But
so
but
question
is it
marks.
but is it a foreign body? It's not foreign because it's your body. It's as if,
True, but I mean, like, out of your consciousness, you're interacting with another version of your consciousness.
okay,
So you're not
so
twin
how
paralleling two bodies. It's your experience with another experience
yeah, but
consciously.
look at it like this. Next time, I don't know, you do anything sexually, just look at the mirror in
Mm,
the same time.
that well,
It's
that makes me uncomfortable? Question mark.
I don't do it, but it's basically the same thing because it's a clone. The only difference is you can physically do things with each
Well,
other.
what I'm saying is there's just two parallels of thought. One, that it is indeed oneself, and then the other half, it's your two different experiences
Yeah.
experiencing each other, and then it's like, okay, and we call those experiences consciousness, and so there's two different consciousness, though they are of or
Mhm.
are one. But the thing is, we don't have enough information on, like, what is a consciousness, where does it reside, does it reside anywhere, what is it, are we just firing electrons, or are we spirits, what does that even mean, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So this is
So
all subjective to philosophical meanderings.
look, honestly, if I had a clone of myself, I would
Mm.
probably give it a try once.
Don't knock it till you try it, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Clone
I'm not gonna
sex.
for me personally to
Mm.
try with a different person who is not me, that for me is
Here's the
no.
real question. Go ask your wife how'd she feel about that, and there's your answer.
You know what? You know what? Yeah, I might do that. But no, it's then will come the people. Well, how about your twin? Would you do it with your twin? Like,
No, that's different because
it's
your twin is
different.
not you. They're not a
E-
clone. They're a different person.
exactly. And plus we're brothers, so we grew up together and we know everything. Or is it my
It's not. It's
sister?
not. Oh
Hey,
boy.
Targaryen style. If I wasn't Targaryen, I had no problem. honestly, honestly, I could pull off a Targaryen. I am blonde, so
Yes, you definitely look the part, but let's hope you don't act it.
oh no, God, no, God, no. But it
You
is
heard it here, folks.
it
He is
is
not incestual.
no, it is a conversation I remember having multiple times throughout my life. If I had my own clone, what would I do with him? Like, obviously, he would work. I wouldn't. I would go
I'd
travel and
fight
all that.
myself.
Are you fighting
That
yourself?
I've always wanted, if I had a clone, full on, full contact, like, just fight the shit out of each other until we just, I think there'd be a mutual agreement. It wouldn't be to death, but it would be like up to that point, like how
Mhm.
much could, like, to understand my full potential, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
within myself, to master, to not to master, but to see, what I've learned, put it to the test. Because who better to agree with you is yourself, and to have that externally manifested than that,
Are
I think that'd
you?
be pretty rad.
Yes, it would definitely be cool. It would be amazing. It would be fun as well. But if you're doing it to to test yourself. Are you really testing yourself? Because let's say you're level 5.
Are
Do
you
you
really
really
masturbating?
exactly?
Same
But
question.
but no, with fighting yourself and why you want to do it, you said you want to test yourself. Let's say you are a level 5. Obviously, your clone is also level 5. Are you really
Mm.
testing yourself? Wouldn't you want to fight someone who's a level 6? That's
Well,
testing yourself.
here's the point though. They like anytime you like ever trained with someone, even if they're better than you, which is the best way to train. I do agree. That does definitely test and push your limits, but it also grows you. But the thing is, there's never, other than real life and death circumstances, you're never going to be able to like test your level evenly, where you both can walk away from it and be like chill. Generally when you're doing sparring, you're going maybe about 70-20 on like power and speed. So it's light, like you're going hard, but it's not, that you're not really, you're exploring and you're, working things out and figuring things out. But if it's yourself and you can go full hard, full force, like dedicate power to your punches and like your kicks and your movement, it changes the dynamic, because just in case maybe one of you dies, well, one of you can continue on and everything's, all good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's having a clone. I do have to say it would be amazing. It would be very interesting as well. And I do see the potential of it, and also why Beth did it. But the thing, well, she went with it. You know, it's essentially loving yourself, because a lot of people
Mhm.
have self-hatred. Oh, how I look,
Yeah.
how I feel, depression and all that. And you have basically you saying, yeah, I don't have those feelings because I have different experience, and I can tell you, you look amazing. You shouldn't hate yourself. I like,
Yeah.
and that I did appreciate that. I did, like that, because
Mhm.
like a lot of people do hate themselves
There's some
for
truth in
one
it.
one way or another.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Instead of
everyone, I
self
have to everyone have that at some point, even a little bit. They think, well, like, I don't look good today. Someone else will see, what, wow, damn, that person looks amazing today. But you yourself, you don't
Yep.
see that. So having the clone
Yeah.
is, telling you the truth. You cannot be afraid from the truth, because you think those thoughts at the same time. So
Mm.
I did
Well, it's interesting that
appreciate that.
they split a certain aspect of their personalities, where like Clone Beth is more the aggressive and like certain aspects of the repression that she's had in order for her to like live her wild side, whereas the Beth who chose to stay is the fragments of like pushing herself towards loving her family and living the life that she's wanted within that domesticated kind of sense, if you will,
Mhm.
and how they're two sides of the same coin, but they can come at each other from those angles, so they don't have to resent themselves on one way or another. That's what that mutual respect within each other or within the one themselves is definitely, like, I agree. I think that was a beautiful sentiment. Like I liked certain aspects, like when they went out for the ice cream run where they just sat and looked at
Space.
looked at the globe. Yeah. Like I thought that was a nice moment. And then it turned romantic, and then I was like, oh, why do I hate this? I felt like Jerry at the end of the episode where he like goes into his defense mechanism and turns into a pill bug.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. That was amazing.
Yeah. But then when he's pulled out and he makes it, his own like stand and whatever, and then things get even weirder, or it's still his wife? Question mark. Why?
But no, they did give an interesting counter act to what he was saying, because they don't know who is the clone and who's the real Beth.
Yeah, they
So
really don't in the end. Yeah.
they really don't know. So they do tell Jerry, so what if you up till now have been with the clone and not the real Beth? That means you're the one who's been cheating, not me. Because the whole thing
Hmm.
about Jerry is the fact that they cheated, like his wife cheated on him. But at the end of the day,
On
it's like,
him. Yeah.
it's not that she cheated on him. It's the fact that she didn't invite him. That was
Yeah.
essentially the bigger problem for him that we then later on and find out like, yeah, he's totally okay with having sex with his wife and his clone, a threesome with that. And that's, you know, give it up to Jerry, you know.
Big man.
Yeah.
And he has a bit of a dominant side of him, which is very like, oh,
Yeah, it was interesting. It was hilarious at the same time. But I
And
do
then the question is, would you have a threesome with your well, maybe too personal, but your wife and her clone?
um I would give it a try. Okay, this is what I'm getting from this part of the episode. The verdict about having a clone: you would fight with yourself, I would fuck myself.
Absolutely.
Um,
I mean, in essence, they're almost the same thing on a deeper philosophical level. The physical aspect of it, of in metaphor of like two people physically encountering each other and pushing and testing, and there's a bit of the will and yielding, pushing back and forth during this consensual engagement,
mhm.
and out of it comes this beautiful thing, and there's a climax. I don't know.
Well, someone has to climb back. This is scenarios. Oh man,
Moving on.
this episode definitely got weird and fast. But yeah, let's move
So
on.
basically, maple syrup, Rick and Morty, masturbation, and the other tangent we went on, clones, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, let's move
Episode
on.
4,
Episode
Night
4,
Family, a great
Night Family.
episode. I love. Yeah.
This was a Halloween episode, like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Halloween themed,
So
but
good.
it was amazing. It's like a scary episode, but at the same time, it's not scary. The way they did it, the opening was also
Use
like,
the aesthetic
yeah,
of horror.
yeah,
It was
it
a great, brilliant episode, in my opinion.
amazing. They first started the episode very chill, very like nothing special is going to happen today, but it's Rick and Morty. Everything has to happen. Has to be special. And we find out that Rick has this box that he got from space somehow. And
Mm-hmm.
what does this box do? You basically prick your finger on this little metal rod thing,
Oh,
pricker thing.
Spindle. Well,
Yeah,
not Cinderella.
yeah,
Fuck.
Cinderella.
Sleeping Beauty
Yeah,
kind of vibe. Mm-hmm.
exactly. And it takes a little blood, so it would have your DNA, and you
Mm-hmm.
write down a task you want to do while you are asleep. So your night person, as if takes over your body. You still have your 8 hours of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever you want to do like that, you don't lose time. Because let's see, you have the entire day that you are functional, you're doing stuff, and then you have 8 hours that you basically do nothing. So why not have someone who takes over your body and does that things for you? So if you want to work
While
out,
you're
you
getting a
work
good
out.
right.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you want to learn an instrument, learn a new language, you can do that.
Yep.
And that is basically the premise of this episode. But the thing is, we slowly
Things go awry.
exactly, we slowly see how everything goes wrong and very, very bad to the family. So yeah, go ahead, tell us what happens. Like, how bad does it get?
Well, things go to utter shit as we understand that the night people have a bit of more of a personality that begins to emerge as they become almost separate entities that start making demands. It starts with the night people side of things starting to get a little annoyed when they don't scrape off their dishes, the day people, aka the normal family,
Mhm.
while continuing about their day. And eventually it gets to the point where we find out that the leader of the night people, which is the summer night person, Summer is indeed the big bad, like I mentioned earlier, due to her repressed feelings. They took it from the ongoing meme where Rick in like season 2 or something said, "I don't care about your feelings, Summer." And Summer's been this like whole thing of like not rainbows and sunshine, but she's just like as if not fazed by it. But in reality, like what Rick says impacts her, and she's repressed it deep. And if you like look at the various ways within this episode that Summer looks at Rick, you can kind of tell that's still there, particularly in one scene where after the big bad is revealed, Rick in the daytime goes to Summer and wakes her up, and he's like, "Well, dude, do you have a problem with me? Like, what the heck?" And like you can see there's annoyance in Summer's eyes for like a quick flash, but then it's quickly brought down as she goes into this passive mode to kind of be like, no, of course not. Like what the hell? And that's further instigated, if you will, up to the point where there's like weird interactions. It's interesting too because everybody chooses something particular to work on. As a night person, Rick and Morty work on their abs. They get a podcast going on about it.
Yeah, they
which
have
is really
a
hilarious.
podcast. Yeah, like us.
Yeah, great little scene. Beth learns the trumpet. Summer's learning Spanish and doing chores at night, so she doesn't have to do them during the day. And Jerry chooses to be a pen pal with himself, which is kind of cute. But at the same time, it's funny because they make fun of him, like, and I called it from the beginning that it would be the most crucial thing because they're like, everybody makes fun of Jerry for doing that. But Jerry, because that he's made friends with himself, the night version, is able to kind of be like, I'm on your side. And that episode was actually genius as it comes to a head that the two families, even though they are themselves, start to combat each other through putting themselves to sleep and waking themselves up. And what ends up happening is the night family creates a field in which everyone basically never wakes up. So the night family owns the day. And so they get into this conflict in order to end it. So they're trying to get out of the field so that they can reclaim their lives and take out this family. And it heads to the point, and there's great slapstick, like physical comedy with them, like being put to sleep, being woken up, and like one person on the sleep side, Jerry is on their side on both sides, but he keeps on getting like rattled between back and forth. And I thought that scene was absolutely genius and hilarious. And then it comes to a head where finally it's Rick pinned to the ground and all the night people around him, and they're like, you could just scrape your plate and this will all go away. And I think it's implied that Rick doesn't take the deal. He's like, yeah, I'd rather die. But so they put him back to sleep, and then the night people rule the day. And then I guess it was Rick's plan anyways, but at the same time, not really, that they'd be self-defeating because in the end, they can't handle the normalcy of balancing the day and doing the things that they want to do, vacations and budgeting their taxes and so on and so forth. And a lot of time has gone by at this point when they decide to end it all. The Night family essentially destroys the machine that keeps them prevalent and going, and they all just cease to exist. And the Smiths wake up to find themselves with a large time gone by, and they're all like, fuck. So
yeah, the main
but they go ahead.
No, yeah, continue.
No, I was just saying in the end, it was time that won.
Yeah, it was time that won, but the main reason why this whole thing basically unfolded is because while the day people were living their own lives, they decided, hey, we can just do the dishes at night. Like I can have a garbage for a house. I can have a pigsty in my house, and I'll just do like my night self will clean after myself. And what really annoyed the night people is because they wouldn't rinse the dishes for that. It's like, just rinse it to make it easier for us. And
That's
we see
all it took. But no,
that, yeah, that's all it took. And Rick is so stubborn. Like he goes and they do another Avengers.
is it?
They do another Avengers mentioning. So when Rick goes and gets the new plates, he goes to this island. You have a giant dwarf or whatever, and Rick tells them like, "You
Mhm.
break this one," and they create these plates that can't be broken or whatever. So that is basically,
Just despite them, yeah.
yeah, and that is the same scene as when Thor created the axe. But yeah, it's basically,
Yeah, basically. You owe me.
but yeah, the reason he created these plates is because the night people won't break them. What was hilarious to me, so at some point, when they have the car chase, and then there's a car crash, and they all like basically punch each other and all that. They all wake up and go back to sleep. Right? At some point, all of them are awake. The only person that is still asleep is Morty, and Rick is on top of him. And the thing is, he keeps like knocking his head on the ground. So he puts him to sleep. He wakes him up, puts him to sleep, wakes him up. Like, and you hear the background, and I was laughing my ass off. Like everyone, like stop! He's awake, and you just continuing bashing his head to the ground nonstop. Oh my god, I laughed my ass off. That was absolutely amazing. Oh my god.
That scene was just as good as the near finale. We'll get to that soon, but I did particularly like that myself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What I did notice when you just said with Jerry about this specific episode, I noticed that Jerry is very important in this season. Like, well,
Yes.
mainly in these last 3 episodes. So over here, he does the pen pal, and now we are going to jump into episode 5. Um, episode 5, it's the episode with the fortune cookies.
Yes, aka known as Final Dismissnation.
Yeah. So before we go into the plot of the movie, well, you know what? Let's just go into the plot. So the
Mm.
family goes into a Chinese restaurant, and they all get fortune cookies. And Summer says, "You must eat the fortune cookie before reading the fortune itself." And they all
Or
do
it doesn't
that.
come true.
Yeah, and they all do that, and then they read the fortune. Most of them, it's like, "Oh, you're gonna have a great time in your family vacation," or family is really important to you. Like something typical, stupid, and means nothing. And then Jerry gets, "You are going to fuck your mom." And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was a breathtaker. Like, what?
And then we have the opening thing. But the thing is, last episode, the day was saved thanks to Jerry. And in this episode, we know the truth about the fortune cookies, again, thanks to Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, that was interesting to me. I liked how everyone particularly doubted, but I particularly liked how Rick was like, because it really, if we don't know that by now, Rick's modus operandi is that there will be no fate or destiny or hand upon him that can't be utilized and says his end. Like no, and so it's interesting to see him both kind of use it selfishly but also empathetically to kind of be like, you know what, I actually care about this, because if it's on him, then it's on me, and I don't abide by this, so I'm actually going to look into this.
mm-hmm. It was genius. The thing I'm going to fuck my
Also, no one
mom.
should be subjected to going to the zoo
Yeah.
against their own will.
Especially don't go to visit the zebras.
No. Well, I like the quirk at the end though, where it's like, is it the humans in the exhibit or is it the animals?
It's
Who's
the
feeding
humans.
who?
And then Modi says, "Oh, we are the zoo. We are okay. I got it." But yeah,
Yeah.
so we basically see that Jerry was right, and I love how he gets all panicky, like, "Why is my mom texting me so much? Why did she call me? What did she
Yeah.
want?" Like, It was hilarious, and how he gets more worried about the fact that he, according to his fortune, he is going to fuck his mom.
Yep.
And yeah, obviously Rick goes and looks
A
into
fate
it.
worse than death.
Rick looks into this and he finds out, like, oh my god, yes, this fortune has some magic into it and it's actually real. Yes, you are going to fuck your mom. Let me help you prevent it and find out the real deal, what's actually going on. And to shorten the episode, he does find out what's going on. He finds the headquarters and who create these fortune cookies, and why they gave Jerry that specific fortune. Apparently, there is
Mhm.
this giant alien thing that basically poops fortune cookies that
Yep.
that they control fate.
Yep.
That
Well, it's chaos being formed into this like entity, like this plausible reality or something,
yeah. But
something like that.
yeah, it's something like that. But essentially, this creature poops fortune cookies that they control or possibly control fate, and whatever you write in your fortune, so whoever eats that fortune, that will happen.
Yeah,
So
you're basically immortal until it happens.
exactly, if you don't fulfill your fortune, therefore you can live forever, you're bulletproof, or whatever. And we see how they play with these fortunes. We see, for example, some of the gods take the fortune and they say, like, you will have a successful battle. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so no matter what, he's not going to die and he is going to win over you. Or someone is like, you will never die. And then Rick tells them, oh man, you're going to hate this. And he shoots him
Yeah.
with a ton of fucking
Oh,
bullets.
I still feel everything. Oh, my insides. Oh.
Like,
Yeah. Or the guy who gets stuck to the wall.
oh my God. Oh my God. It's crazy and amazingly creative how they came up with all of these. And the big
Yeah.
bad guy, who essentially doesn't know Rick, air quotes, she wants the fortune, she wants Jerry's fortune to come true. So what does she do? She brings Jerry's mom into the scene, which
Oh
now
my gosh.
Jerry gets all scared, and it's like, oh my god, what are you doing here? And you see his mom there, like, oh, I needed to see you for something. Like, you kind of see a little sexually or something is happening over there with her, and then she slips, falls, her dress gets ripped. Yeah. Jerry sees her underwear. It's
Oh, I'm so wet.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. But what is interesting over it, Rick finds out from this evil, no, not this evil, he finds out this creature. And why did they create this fortune for Jerry is because there's a guy who's basically enslaved and he is in love
Yeah.
with this creature, and he wants someone to help him. And he tells, like, yeah, look, I made like several thousands fortunes of people who were going to fuck his mom, their mom. And
Ugh.
Rick asks him, like, well, why didn't they ever come to rescue you? Well, I guess they fucked their mom.
I don't know.
Like, Jesus. Oh my god. It's hilarious.
Ugh.
But then Rick has a big conflict of what to do. So he opens this portal that sucks everything. The big bad lady, she is invincible. Why? Because she has a fortune of herself to be the most
She-
successful woman in the world. And what is interesting
Mhm.
over here, she's trying to be successful, but not the most successful, because the
Yeah.
fortune cookies are for free. So
Yeah.
somehow she's making a lot of money, but at the same
Well,
time,
she's
she's
been
making no
trading
money.
fortunes.
Yeah.
Like she has an economy of fortunes going on, which is how she's been controlling things.
Yeah. So it's funny. Her fortune is like to be the most successful woman, but she's not trying to be, which is essentially giving her, immortality.
Yeah.
Would,
No,
would,
very sly, very coy. They played with the like they set up the rules for this like quick little like tight magic system and like made it really clear and understandable, even though it's so absurdly ridiculous.
well, it's Rick and Morty. It has to be absurdly ridiculous.
Uh,
Yeah, but then everything is being sucked into the black hole. Is grabbing into this big monster, and at the same time, Jerry is also flying towards his mom with his pants down. Her pants is down. His dick is,
everything, all fate is intertwining to this big moment. Yeah.
and Rick decides to help Jerry by writing a new fortune of no sex with mom and feeds it to Jerry.
Yeah.
So he saves Jerry, but at the same time he lets go of the big creature that he wanted, so he could control fate. And Rick is so pissed off on this that later on, when they go to the house,
Because you'll make a new friend. This was
thank you.
Rick's fortune. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry had the last fortune. He could have literally wrote down, "You will find the creature," whatever. It's like, and Rick would have found that creature eventually. But no, what did
Yep.
he write? Not even a fortune, just thank you. That is nothing. And Rick gets all pissed off, and Jared's like, "Thank you, friend." It's like, "Friend, you motherfucker."
Because had he not brought that up, he would have been immortal.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
That
That was an insane episode.
it was, I think, one of my favorite episodes in this season. It's amazing. It's hilarious. But I do believe we got to the end of episode 5, and now we're gonna jump to the latest episode that was
Last episode.
the last episode that for us it was released a few days ago. So yeah,
Yep. Jurassic Mort, episode 6.
episode 6. Yeah, so tell us about it.
Episode 6. Well, we're introduced that the rift is still open, something to be like, oh yeah, remind us that. And let's see. I think Morty is Rick is finally or has been trying to work on his portal gun and bring it back to full functionality, as that has not been the case. He's kind of been like stalling for some reason. I can't quite remember if there was a hidden meta or like emotional beat that was preventing him from like, because he could do it. He could have done it at any point, but he's been procrastinating.
Mhm.
And then basically oh yeah, and they have the little hint, like all throughout the seasons we've been seeing this Cthulhu monster in the beginning of the opening, and we're like, oh, like when's this gonna come out? And then Rick opens, demonstrating his portal, the Cthulhu comes out, and then he sprits him back in. It's like, it's a tease. So that was a nice little touch. Because they don't have the car yet, they haven't received the new vehicle, and the portal gun isn't ready. Rick has to drive Morty to school. Everybody's terrified of Morty because every time he comes in, something happens. They make a whole bunch of references to earlier episodes or seasons, previous seasons. And then basically it's like, it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, all these eggshells, giant technological ships come back down to Earth. And what walks outside but psychic dinosaurs? Where we learn that they were once the ruling species, and then they always bring the society back, and then they leave, and or bring society to function to existence, and then they leave after bringing people to like a higher state of being. And so basically after all their travels, so they say, they've come back to Earth to see that dinosaurs have been wiped out completely, and that the apes have evolved, and things get a little weird. And so eventually they hold a conference. They're like, okay, we're back. We're basically going to be your overlord, so everything's going to be okay. We're going to advance technology. Everything's going to be great. Of course, humanity at first is like, yeah, we're going to be, we love this. And at the same time, as life progresses, people are becoming, let's say, complacent. However, Jerry fits in once again as like being the key guy to like enjoy this kind of life, and so his family like pushes him like, how does he do this? And so he finally releases his book that he'd apparently written about his philosophy, and the dinosaurs make approve of it and like make it worldwide reading, but do not give credit to Jerry, which pisses him off. At the same time, Rick and Morty return back to the scene, explaining to the world that while dinosaurs evolved to become super smart, the opposite has happened, where rocks have become semi-sentient and become super dumb, but very like poignantly against their counterpoint, the dinosaurs. And so everywhere the dinosaurs go, these rocks follow and destroy the world. And so with that information, humans are like, fuck you. And the dinosaurs are like, all right, cool. And enough like late night show references, they like back off and they fly to Mars to await their impending doom. And humans once again return back to capitalism and things of that nature, the various small critiques at our various societies, and turning back on the oil fields and da 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 da. And then Rick, being always assuming himself to be a godlike being, goes to play god chicken with them as they're awaiting their doom. He's like, well, fuck you guys. You can't kill me. Like as the asteroids coming towards them to destroy them all. And so they basically stand there until they basically are like, fuck it. They destroy the asteroid, which they could have done all along. And instead of being heroic and stoic, sacrificial characters, or whatever their motives were. And just to piss Rick off and to make things interesting, they close the rift and head on the way. And at the very end, Rick masters his portal gun again, and zips Morty until he barfs through a billion portals, which is hilarious, as they do their like ending thing of Rick and Morty forever, 1,000 seasons, Rick and Morty. We're back, baby. So we're going to be assuming normal episodic stuff for the next, unless they tag in something in the next episode, which we'll see later. And at the end, we do find out all the crazy craters and whatnot were for dinosaurs to be super awesome skateboarding dinosaurs, which was hilarious. And that is a very thorough and sporadic plot synopsis of this episode.
Yeah. There were several parts over there that were like, okay, not much is happening, but at the same time, the dinosaurs are doing good. And that reminded me the episode with previous season. I don't remember her name, but Planetina. Yeah, Planetina.
That's like second season.
No, that was episode season 5. Planetina.
Really?
Yeah.
Planetina?
Yeah.
Where you fucked an entire planet?
No, when there's
Planetina with Morty. Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah. Okay. So, what's the parallel?
Well, she wants to save the world and turn it green and all that. And over here, they basically do the same thing. Everywhere they go, they plant trees with their minds. And the thing is, back in Planetina, when that season came out, I was working as someone who was cleaning the streets and and the beaches from garbage. This was during COVID, so that was my job, and I realized how much garbage they're just thrown in the streets and all that, in the oceans, and rivers, and it got me to appreciate the planet even more by cleaning it. And then the Planetina episode came out, and like, wow, I really resonate with you. And then over here, you have the same thing. Like, yeah, we came to, better the world, but at the same time, kind of give you no purpose to live. So it was like, okay, interesting. But we
both lead to a really parallel, like a not fascist, kind of fascist. Yeah, fascist. She's the very definition of fascism. Like this, like full green oriented to the point like everyone dies and humans are the problem, da 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 da, and like she's willing to murder for on behalf of the planet, which is extreme. Whereas these guys are like, okay, you guys can just chill and not do anything and become just passive witnesses of just existing.
Yeah. But what was interesting over here, the dinosaurs later on figure out all the lives they basically killed. Like they went to all these different planets to help them thrive and evolve. But the second they left, a meteor came, destroyed everything, and then new life was born. And they realize the big mistake that they have done, and they go to all these interviews. That some of these interviews, like TV interviews, for me very much felt like the movie Don't Look Up with Leonardo DiCaprio. Amazing movie.
I didn't see that one.
Amazing movie. You know what?
I heard it was a satire.
Watch that movie.
All right.
I will gladly talk about it in the podcast. I very much loved it.
Absolutely. All right. All for it.
But then we also have the president who goes to Morty and he says, like, I had enough with this lifestyle. I want to go back to being essentially evil, because that's the government. All government is evil. And, I want to have meaning in my life. So Rick says, yeah, sure, no problem. He goes, he does it. The dinosaurs fix Rick's portal gun. They gave him a new one, and
they fixed it earlier, but he refused it.
Yeah, he refused it. And it's like, come on, have it just in case. But he refused it, and he tells the president, "I will help you on condition." And he says, like, no,
hosting the Oscars.
Hosting the Oscars. And now you did not mention the Oscars, and I want to mention it. Hilarious.
It's all for you.
It's okay. So Rick acts drunk. He says, like, bring up the microphone, bring up the mic. They bring up the microphone. He throws it. He's like all wasted, and it's like, yeah, Tom Hanks is here. It's like, dude, do the thing. It's like, Wilson. Everyone claps.
Yeah.
And then and then Rick goes to the backstage, and all of a sudden Rick is not drunk. He's sober. And Summer's like, well, what, that was staged? And Rick says, yeah.
Everything's at the Oscars.
Everything is staged in the Oscars, especially that one thing. He doesn't say what is that one thing, but if you've seen the latest Oscars, that one thing is a Will Smith Chris Rock.
Yeah, did you see that? That was actually, someone found something that was literally identical to that, like, not from the Oscars, but from a movie or something, and they just placed it in the, like, they reacted it. I don't know. It was crazy. I'm not a fan of conspiracy theories, but this one was like word for word and bit by bit way prior to this, and I was like, people are really sheep, huh? My favorite thing at the Oscars was Ricky Gervais just blasting the truth and saying, fuck you guys.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais is amazing. I love him. I love his sense of humor and how his minds work. But what you just said about the Will Smith slap, no, I haven't seen that. If you can find it and send me a link, I'll definitely watch it.
I got you, bro.
I personally, I think the Will Smith Chris Rock smack was 100% real. I don't think it was improvised. It could be improvised, but how far are you willing to go with that joke?
So weird, dude. It's so weird, the stuff behind it, because like at first you see that, like, Will Smith was laughing. He was laughing at the joke, and then he was like looking pussy whipped as his wife was like, "Excuse me," and then but the thing is this. Oh my gosh, like. I'll find it while we're chatting, but like,
so again, it could be improvised. I personally don't think it was improvised, but it is Hollywood and everything is improvised over that. But the thing is, how far are you willing to go with that joke? Because Will Smith got really the back end of the stick, the short end of the stick at the end of the day because of that. But yeah, then Rick basically, tells the dinosaur that, they're stupid and they shouldn't basically kill themselves. And they don't. They eventually decide to save themselves and take over Mars. And Rick even says Elon Musk will be very pissed about this, but whatever. And
Right.
yeah, and then I and then we see them in the end credit. We see them skateboarding and having fun.
Skateboarding. Feel like an
Yeah.
old 80s thing. I had to say though, on a separate tangent in regards to you know, Elon Musk, did you see the thing about the new like warp drive that was like working between him and NASA?
No.
Basically, they built an engine that's like first warp drive of interstellar travel by, like legit Star Trek shit. Like, so based on the principle that the closer you get to light speed, your mass becomes infinite.
Hmm.
It's how you can't actually. It's why we can't break the speed of light or go beyond it, because that would break physics. So the thing is, what you can do is get close to it, and so they built. Hypothetically, I don't know if they built it already, but the Hadron Collider. So what that does is take particles and then whips them at like close to the speed of light, and then they smash them together. And how do these particles actually smash is because they have mass generated when they get close to the speed of light and they hit each other and things happen. And then we observe and go, ooh, science. And so a scientist took the concept and was like, what if we had a vent? And what would basically be what is essentially happening is it's a fuelless rocket that has I think electrons or protons or whatever cycling through the engine. But what happens is, as it's being cycled, they have a vent at the back, and because these things are being shot and becoming close to the speed of light, the mass becomes almost infinite, and so a lot of force is actually jettisoned out of that vent as they're being recycled back in, and the same thing happens over and over. And so when that happens over and over, the collective force of infinite mass being shot is basically warp speed. But you can't break the speed of light, but you can get pretty well damn near it. And so they're like, what would this look like? So this thing, I think the current engine project is about like 600 feet wide or something long or something like that. But basically with this technology, we could get to the moon in 1 point something seconds. We could get to Mars in 12 minutes. We could get to Neptune, which is one of the furthest planets. Is it Neptune?
I think so.
It doesn't matter. It's pretty far away, I think, the idea, in like 30 minutes or something like that. So we are stepping into the bounds of like interstellar space travel, and like you can look that up. I forget the name of the engine, but it is insane.
I'll have to look it up. What we do know, according to Jerry from Rick and Morty, that Pluto is a planet.
Hey, I'm all for it.
So about traveling, that we can't travel the speed of light, I agree, and I also kind of disagree. I'm no science guy, so what
Not
I'm going
traveling
to say,
speed of light. We're coming pretty damn near close to it.
no, so I'm saying I think we could possibly travel the speed of light. And again, I'm not a science guy, and what I'm going to say, it's complete out of my ass. But back in the day, before cars, people were like, why would anyone drive, 15 miles per hour? That is way too fast. There's no, like, our bodies. And these are stuff that people did say back in the day. They said our bodies cannot function or hold the travel of 50 miles per hour. Our bodies would collapse. And why did people say it back then? It's because they didn't have this technology. They didn't understand it. So now, our time, we don't have the technology to travel in the speed of light. As you said, we are getting close to it. And according to what you said, if we travel to the speed of light, we like vanish or whatever, like particles.
There's cool stuff that happens.
Pretty cool stuff will happen. But the thing is, we can't confirm nor deny that because we don't have that technology to actually take a person and make him travel in that speed. So I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, because we don't have that technology, I can't really agree and disagree.
But the thing is, we already have Hadron Colliders.
And did anyone travel with that?
Not yet.
Okay,
But
so
I'm just saying it's practical. Just
I'm
look it
not
up.
saying
Your mind is about to be blown.
I'm not saying it's not practical. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying as of right now, because we don't have that technology to send a person in that speed, I don't confirm or deny, what will happen to the human body when it travels in the speed of light. Because
Well, here's the thing. Time is relative, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is my speed, similar to how, because we experience this all the time, whether we're on the top of a mountain or we're traveling on something that is accelerated, we don't like G force is experienced when something accelerates beyond like our present, but we can ride with it. But the G force, like if you're flying a plane and you go really fast straight, you can hit Machs and you're not going to feel the G's until you turn.
Mhm.
So what happens is when you're experiencing, like we are experiencing time at different rates. If I'm on a higher elevation than you, I'm actually closer to the speed of light because I'm actually moving faster than you because I'm higher on the rotation. And so I actually experience time a little bit different. So we know that when we are accelerated, our time is relative to the time of our acceleration. Everything over here may be a little bit different. So what will most likely happen is it will feel like not necessarily nothing. Maybe lights will start to stretch or things of that nature because of our perception, because of the speed. But what we experience in amongst ourselves won't necessarily be G, especially because we're in space. Space is zero gravity, right? So you're not gonna. There's nothing to push those effects on us. Whereas here on Earth, time will consist regularly. However, the people going closer to the speed of light, they will be younger.
Yeah, because for them it'll
In
be
the
like
terms, they're
half
not
an
going
hour.
back. It's just, yeah, exactly. But for us, time will be a little bit longer. So it will. My assumption is that it will almost feel almost instantaneous, but this amount of time has allotted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's very interesting where this technology goes and what Rick can actually help us with. But yeah, give us
Rick will take us there.
give us a summary of what we talked in this episode, because we talked about what maple syrup. We talked. Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about Rick and Morty, or maple syrup, Rick and Morty, masturbation, clones. We tangent into so many things.
Die Hard.
Philosophical nuances. Die Hard. Are there Christmas movies? Are they real? Not that that's exactly that was exactly it, but it's relative. Then we completed various synopses. We went into Will Smith. We went into traveling near the speed of light and relativity. By the way, I make a disclaimer. I'm not a science guy myself. I just like the topic. So there are probably things that I said that err. And I'm willing to be corrected. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was basically it. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Basically. Yeah, but to sum it up, Moses would fight himself. I would fuck myself if we had clones. Yep. We got to the end of our episode. Well, would you fight yourself naked?
Yes.
Okay, so we essentially would also kind of
Greco-Roman style. I told you, fighting and sex are almost the same thing on a very particular level.
Yeah. Anyways, I do believe we got to the end of our episode for today. I'm your host, Joel, and with us, Moses the Moon.
That's me, everyone. Don't forget it. Don't forget this sound.
We talked about Rick and Morty Season 6, Part 1, Episodes 1 till 6. We will come back to this subject once Season 6 will continue, which is in about 6 weeks from now, if I'm not mistaken, November 20th. So we give us 5 stars on Spotify and anywhere else you can listen to. You can also listen to on iHeartRadio now and Apple Podcasts. Yes, and Google Podcasts. We are spoilers, obviously, and we'll catch you guys up on the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.